Hi, I'm Hannah. Welcome to my channel. So I've been meaning to make this video pretty much since the beginning of time. It is my entire coming out story. You know, a lot of people, friends, family, Tumblr, etc. have asked me like, how'd you know you were gay? I go through the whole shenanigans. Some people get the abridged version. I figured it was time to just make a video. So this is for anyone who's ever asked me my coming out story, anyone who's ever come out, anyone who's thinking about coming out, anyone who's just fascinated by coming out stories like I am. I've always kind of known I was attracted to women. I just didn't really know what that meant. I always found women attractive. I always related more to the female characters in movies and film and books, and I was just fascinated by women. I think the first time that I ever was like, you might be attracted to women in more of just actual attraction instead of just, hey, women are awesome, was Bennett Like Beckham. I think that movie came out in 2002. Keira Knightley is one of the most attractive people I've ever seen in my life. And there was a whole sort of storyline in that movie where people thought she might be gay. I was intrigued by that. I was like, oh, you know, the movie would have been a lot better if she actually was gay. And after that movie, I had this like unhealthy obsession with Keira Knightley. My entire wall was just photos of Keira Knightley. I'm pretty sure I can recite the entire Pirates of the Caribbean movie to anyone from start to finish. Just like an unreal obsession. I would call what I had on my wall to her a shrine. Literally, it was a shrine to Keira Knightley. And I'm pretty sure at that point my parents were kind of like, do you think this one might be gay? Because, you know, I don't think many people have a million different photos of Keira Knightley, also in states of undress, on their wall in, you know, when they're 12. So that might have been hint number one. I still didn't really actually recognize it as, you know, being gay or like wanting to date women. I was just like, hey, you know, she's cool. I want to put her all over my wall. I think the next moment where I was like, oh my God, you're gay. Was Knocked Up, which came out in 2007, so I was 17. And after we left the movie, I like turned to my group of friends, which were all people my age and older, all women, and I said, oh, you know, wasn't that one sex scene really hot? And they all looked at me and were like, no, Seth Rogen is disgusting. And I was like, oh my God, it was Katherine Heigl. So at that moment I was like, oh God, yeah, totally. And I think that was the first time that I was like, you're attracted to women. Like, you like women and you want to be on women. So that was the first time that I definitely was like, we might need to reevaluate this whole dating men thing. I came out to a couple of my friends as bi. A lot of my friends told me it was a phase or that, you know, I didn't really know or I didn't understand. And so that left me even more confused than when I started. So I kind of ignored it and pretended it wasn't a thing. And then I kind of fell for my best friend. Happens to everyone, straight girl crush. And she was phenomenal. She was the only person that really was like, hey, you know, your feelings are valid. You don't really know what you are right now, but that's okay. You know, she was really sweet. She was like, sorry, like not interested. I am straight, but you know, you do you. So that was the first person that ever made me feel like, hey, it's okay. Like, you might like women, that's fine, which I really appreciated. And as a result, we're still friends, and we've been friends for like 20 years. That's a real friend right there. I appreciated her validating my feelings, but also really gently letting me down. That was much appreciated. So then after that point, I continued to date men, and I came out to the men I dated as bi. I said, you know, I'm into women. Is that a problem with you? And it wasn't, which is a whole other story for another day. So I was out as bi. I hadn't told my parents anything, although through grapevine, my mom had heard that I might be interested in women and confronted me, and I was like, no, what? No, I'm straight. I like men. And that was the first conversation we had. Then I went to college. Pretty much from day one of freshman year, I fell madly in love with someone who lived on my hall. And we kind of did this dance for a while of like, we're straight, right? We're just like really close. What? I'm gonna kiss you. What? It went around and around for a while where it was very secretive, and I was trying to kind of come to terms with what it meant to actually date women. And she was like, oh, I always thought I was straight. What's happening? And there was a lot of back and forth. I will say that the first time that I ever kissed her, I knew that I was gay. I had totally fallen in love with her, and that kiss and the way I felt about her and the way she made me feel, confirmed that I was 100% gay, which I think a lot of people get really confused because they're like, hey, you dated men for like a really long time and you slept with men. I didn't know any better. I thought I was supposed to sleep with and date men, and I thought my attraction to women was just something that kind of was going to be on the side and I was never going to deal with it. And then when I finally, you know, met my first girlfriend and fell in love with her, I was like, no, you know, this is what it's actually supposed to be like. And after that, they're no more men for me. We dated for maybe about a year and a half while I was still in the closet. And that was a little because I wasn't ready, but also because she wasn't ready. And I had to respect that because my coming out would inevitably out her because everyone already thought we were together. And that was kind of why I waited as long as I did. Then when I could wait no longer, one of my best friends, we were out one night and out of the blue, I just turned to her. I said, Alex, I'm not straight. She was like, what? I said, I'm not straight. She was like, are you gay? And I was like, yeah. She was like, okay, I know. I was like, okay. Well, that was pretty easy. I think all my friends were just kind of waiting for me to come out to them and were not surprised whatsoever. I mean, she walked in on me watching the L Word. Not that straight people don't watch the L Word, but from start to finish religiously all the time, might be a little bit of a hint that I was gay. She was just like, hey, yeah, I know, thanks. And then I immediately marched home and gathered my whole group of friends and was like, guys, I have something to tell you, like, I'm gay. And we sat down and talked forever. I let them ask questions and kind of explained how I came to realize it. And at that point, my girlfriend and I still weren't out, and we did that at a later date. So this was literally just me coming out, which I appreciated because I got my own space to come out and share my story. And my friends were really supportive. They were awesome. Really thankful to them. And again, I'm still friends with all of them because they've been amazing throughout my entire coming out process and just in life. Then I kind of waited a little bit and I was like, well, this is happening. There's a large group of people that know that I'm gay. I should probably tell my family. I hadn't really made any plans to tell my family. So when I came out to my dad that summer, it was completely on accident. He picked me up from school to drive me home. We were at dinner one night and we're talking and he was asking what classes I was taking next semester and I listed all of them, but I left one off. I was taking a class called Transnational Queer Identities, and it was kind of my first step into women's and gender studies and queer theory, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna get educated from both an academic standpoint and, you know, culturally. And so I just didn't mention that class. And he was like, okay, so you're taking this, 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 and he was like, you're what's the last class? And I was like, oh God, this is happening. Transnational queer. He was like, what? Transnational queer identities. And he was like, huh. What made you want to take that class? And I was like, gulps water. And he was like, is there something you want to tell me? And I was like, well, and he was like, are you a lesbian? And I said, yes, I'm gay. And then we had a conversation for like hours after that. He, same thing, asked me questions. I explained how I came to know, and he was really awesome. He was having a hard time understanding because, again, I had dated men and kind of being like, but I don't understand this whole part of your history. So I had to kind of walk him through that. After he kind of wrapped his head around what it meant for me to be gay and how I came to realize I was gay, he was like, yeah, whatever. It's fine. I love you. And then it was actually my mom that I was much more nervous to come out to. My mom and I are very, very, very close. And the last thing I ever wanted to do was disappoint her. And I was afraid that, not that she wouldn't accept me for being gay, but that she had this whole idea of what my life would look like. And now I was completely shifting that. Well, I chickened out really hard, really hard. I read Betty DeGeneres' book about raising Ellen and coming to understand what it's like to have a gay child. And the back of the book, the first line of, you know, the description of the book was, Mom, comma, I'm gay. I underlined that part of the description, put it on my mom's bed and walked away and just waited for her to find it. So she eventually came into my room and was like, okay, yeah, I know. And I was bawling because I was so afraid that I was gonna disappoint her. I was really nervous, and she was like, are you okay? Like, why are you crying? And I was like, I just don't want to disappoint you. And she was like, I've known that you were gay since you were little, and I just was waiting for you to tell me and didn't really know how to ask you. I was just waiting for you. And I was like, oh, okay. So it went really well, and she was awesome and supportive. And then from there, I grabbed both my brothers, and then they told their wives. And I just kind of had separate conversations with everyone in my family. And again, let them ask questions and explain. And my family has been the most amazing support group I could have ever asked for. I'm really, really lucky that not only have they accepted the fact that I'm gay, but they've gone above and beyond and accepted everyone I've dated since then. And they ask me about my life. They ask me about LGBTQ rights. They ask me about things I'm interested, in the gay community. They ask me about going out in the gayborhood. They're really, really supportive and actually genuinely care about that whole aspect of my life. So I'm really, really lucky. After that, I basically was just like, hey everyone, I'm a giant homo. If you know me for more than 5 minutes, you know that I'm gay. It's a huge part of who I am. A lot of people, have varying opinions about how big they make it in their life. For me, that's a huge part of me. I fight for LGBTQ rights. I'm really proud and out and loud and borderline obnoxious, but that is how I've chosen to live my life, and I love every second of being gay in the gay community. That's my coming out story. Let me know if you have any further questions. If I missed anything, go ahead and comment, hit the like button, and yeah.